This tab instantly became my favorite tab. Not only because of how small and how easy to use it is, but also in this small tab, it has a lot of good function and great sound. So hello and welcome to After Sound Review, and this is my review for Astell and Kern Norma SR35, which is actually a new generation of the Astell and Kern SR35 Mark II, and basically the main difference is the new UI that is also being used in the Astell and Kern SP3000. Now this is the second player that is using this new UI. So just like usual, I will break down this review from the build and then features, user experience, and then sound and comparison. By the way, this Astell and Kern Norma SR35, I'm just gonna call this SR35, costs around $800, and the case itself, I'm using its official case, it costs around $70. So for this whole packaging, you might be needs around $900. If you have tried some of Astell and Kern's product, you will be familiar with this cut shape from Astell and Kern, and yes, it is indeed looks really cool and somehow futuristic, and also feels kind of exclusive for me. But I have to say that this edges, it does feels kind of sharp here and there, so please be careful with that. But nevertheless, it looks really cool for me, and even this tilted screen, it just looks amazing. Now let me show you the buttons and also the plugs you get. From the upper ones, you get this 4.4 and also 2.5 balance jack, and also one single-ended here. While on the lower side, you get this USB-C and micro SD area, and on the left side, you get these 4 buttons. The upper one, this is on and off button, while this one is the previous track. This one is for pause and play, and the lowest one is for the next track. And on the right side, you get this really nice volume knob, which the thing is, I have tried a lot of dabs, and for me, the volume knob from Astell and Kern always feels the best. Maybe because of the click here feels really sturdy, and everything, it just feels really nice. I still think that they made the best volume knob that I've ever tried in any dabs. But if you want to use this, I really recommend you to use its own leather case. Oh, sorry, not leather case. It almost feels like a leather. Well, this is their collaboration with Sintri Laschina from Milan, Italy. So this is their official case. And yes, it does feels really good. It feels much more comfortable in my hand. Now there's no more sharp edges here and there. But the only downside, personally, I think that this looks better for me. But maybe the only downside is now the buttons become really flat overall. So you can't really tell when you're holding them like this. You cannot really tell which button is which. You need to see a little bit, and then you see the buttons here, 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 and here. So I think that's all. It looks really good nevertheless. Now let me introduce you to Astell and Kern's new UI. Basically, if I'm not mistaken, this is called the Crimson UI. This is different from the previous Astell and Kern UI. This is the second DApp actually implemented. The first one being the SP3000, its flagship DApp. Now this also gets this Crimson UI. Basically, this is the front page when you turn on this DApp. You got the full album here. And then let me guide you with its setting and many more. Well, you get this fast control, you get this quick control app when you swipe down, and then you get the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, the AC. Well, this is one of the things that is noticeably different from the SR35 Mark II, that you got this DAC mode. You can use dual DAC or quad DAC, and yes, it sounds really different, so it's a really nice change, and I think this is one of the most noticeable change besides the UI that I feel when I'm trying this SR35 Mark 35. And then you got this also EQ setting here, which I actually like, because no matter what kind of third-party apps that you use, this basically can be applied to all of that. And it's like this. You can change the gain level on certain frequencies here. It's just for playing around like this, yeah. But also you can also use the advanced mode here. Basically you just get this Q setting in the advanced mode, but I don't usually use the equalizer, I should say. And then you get also this car mode, so it makes this easier to use when you're using the car, and then just put it anywhere else and you just play the song like this and then pause. Yeah, now it's much easier to explore. And you get this also line out, gap plus, wheel lock, and settings. Let me get you to the settings. It's basically everything you need to know. Yes, you get this DAC mode, amp mode, equalizer, gap plus setting, and many more. But the most setting that I usually use is maybe this Bluetooth mode with, you can actually turn this on, and then you also Bluetooth sync mode, and then you can connect this Astell Kern using your phone, so you play the video or songs through your phone, but the sound is coming out from this Astell Kern SR35. This is one of the features that I really like to use. And then if you want to browse to your own files, you just click this button here, and then yes, you get songs, album. This is very basic actually, artist, playlist. But again, this is one of the unique thing about Astell Kern apps is when you click this MQs, you got your file will be chosen the 24 bits one. So this is the most likely in terms of bit rate and also sound quality. This is the ones that you can pick easily when you click these MQs. And also there's DSD. Yes, I don't have a lot of DSD song here. And then other than that, it's just like, yeah, it's just like that. When you try them on like this, yeah, this is like the main page again. If you want to go back to the main page, you know, the one with the album art, you just click this small, basically it's not click, just click it like that. Yeah, it's not, because this is not a button, this is a touch setting here. So this is, you go back to the beginning. And then also you can also go back with this button here on the right side. On the left side is the one that I really also like to use, because I usually use its own streaming function. When you click them, you just go to the open services, and then you can see there's a lot of basically streaming services that's already compatible with this Astell Kern app. I'd like to say, when I opened them at first, I also got this all, you just connect them via Wi-Fi, and then you download them, you install them, and it's easily in the open service. So this one is the downloaded ones. I usually use Apple Music and Spotify. If I want to go back, just like that, and then yeah, when you click this button here up on the left side here, you get this AK Connect services, AK File Drop, Run Ready. Yes, it's Run Ready now, equalizer, amp deck. Basically, you can also connect them all using this quick setting here. And then yeah, I really like, because I usually do streamings right now, I'm using this Apple Music, and it's basically looks the same with the ones I use in my phone. It just looks the same, and I also already downloaded all of them, so I can play them offline, which I really love. And then if I want to go back to the services, I want to change the other apps. For example, if I want to use Spotify, I just use this button and then go to the Spotify, and just like that, I can already use the Spotify. Yeah, but I need to share with you though, this is not like your high-end phone or your iPhone. Yeah, it's just a little bit laggy, but I think for that, this is acceptable. At least for my use, this is very acceptable. But if you want to go back to the main setting, I mean using your own offline files, just go with this home button again. Basically, this is the home button, and then that's it. You go back to the beginning, and that's all about its new UI. Now, I have been using this tab for around a week, and I should say that I really love them, because there are some things that I'd like to share, like it's how easy it is to use. Just like this, when I'm grabbing them, when I'm handing them like this, the volume knob button is basically above my thumb. So it's just directly like this. I can change the volume, and if I want to change the song, I'm just using my forefinger here. And if I use my left hand, it's also the same. I'm just gonna use my thumb with this button here, but for its volume knob, it's basically just below my forefinger. So it's really easy to use no matter what kind of hand I use. And then it also, just like its paper sheet, it can be used for up to 20 hours. So usually I use them for around 2 or 3 days with only charging once. But I have to make note though, if you use its quad DAC mode, it will definitely run your battery faster. And then if you connect them always using your Wi-Fi, it also will drain your battery faster. So if you want to get that 20 hours of playback, you need to turn off your Wi-Fi. Basically, that's why I download all the songs that I like and then play them offline. And then no need to use all the time this screen, just use them like this and easy to control with this knob button and also everything. If you want to use that 20 hours, basically it can work like that, but you can drain it really fast when you just streaming online, keeping it also connected to your Wi-Fi's. And also the one that I usually use is its Bluetooth sync mode, which is really easy. Just use this quick setting up here and then turn on the Bluetooth. Just like that, go to the setting, and then that's it. I can just connect them with my phone and I can watch YouTube and also many things. Again, I can even play with some games using this Astell Kern sound. So basically those two are the most used features that I use. And also I don't really usually use its own offline storage. I usually use the Apple Music or Spotify mostly, and it's really nice to use them. Basically it's almost really the same with the experience when I'm using my phone. It's just a little bit laggy, but I think for me that's still okay, because usually I'm using the Hiby R5 2nd generation, and the lagginess of them is basically really similar with one another. To describe the sound of this SR35, I need to compare them with this Hiby R5II, because this is my previous tab before changing to this SR35. And I hope you can relate, because I think this is one of the famous dabs around $300 to $400. Well, changing from the Hiby R5II, which I consider to be sound neutral, this SR35, at first I realized it became really clean sounding, and how black the background become. It's just amazing that the SR35 is immediately sounds cleaner and more silent in background, especially in the really good recordings, high-res recorded music. For me, this SR35 definitely show what it can do. And also comparing them side by side after changing from Hiby R5II to the SR35, at first I thought that it sounds a little bit brighter, but after using some IEMs and changing sounds, it's not that actually. It's just because it sounds much more cleaner both in background and also in resolution. It feels the vocal is more clean, it feels a little bit more forward, and every word is just getting clearer. Every guitar plucks, every piano touch, and every violin string sounds much more clearer and a little bit forward. So the mid-range and treble, at first I thought it is getting a little bit brighter, but no, everything just becomes clearer now. And also the bass is also the Hiby R5II sounds more fuzzy. The bass is not as vocused sounding as the SR35, and also not as tight. I'm not saying that this is a loose sounding bass in this Hiby R5II, but it's just much more cleaner and tighter in the SR35. So especially I can hear this easily through the rock music that usually have fast double pedal kind of section, or some music that definitely have a more bass kicks, it just feels much more cleaner in the SR35. But it's somehow a little bit more mid-bassy a bit in this Hiby R5II. So some music with a lot of bass, I can feel that it somehow sounds thicker, the bass in this Hiby R5II. But in this one, it's just the texture of the bass, the kick, the depth of the kick, it's just much more better defined in the SR35. But it does have, because of how everything sounds clearer and also tighter, it maybe give a little bit of impression of things getting brighter at first. And also the thing that I'd like to say that the technicality, so it's basically already good in everything. In tonality, it gets more clearer everywhere and it sounds cleaner. And yes, in terms of soundstage, I do feel that the Hiby R5II is a touch wider, but not in a good way. Because when I'm, again, for some music that it's already wide, I don't really see this as a problem. But after hearing the SR35 for some days, a week already, I really have using them for 1 week already. It just feels that the Hiby R5II, even though it's a touch wider, and I can feel it in some music, especially in orchestral music, it's a touch wider, but the focus of the music, the focus of the every instrument, it feels like it has an effect of a panning effect. So it's not, it doesn't have a good central imaging. The sounds more fuzzy and not as focused, while the SR35, even though it sounds a touch shallower, it's not as wide as the Hiby R5II, but everything sounds much more distinctive. Every piano, where it's coming from, and also the focus of the music, it just, now I can get a better perception on that. Now, put it short, even though it sounds a touch smaller compared to the Hiby R5II, but everything literally sounds more realistic and sounds more focused, clearer and cleaner, to the point that for orchestral music, before I couldn't really pinpoint some of the imaging from this Hiby R5II, but now it's much more easily distinct between instruments, where the instrument is coming for. So that's definitely a plus point for me, and it's definitely an upgrade for an overall thing. Well, one thing I almost forgot to explain, how does it sound changing from dual deck mode to quad deck mode? And for me, that is special because I can easily hear the difference directly when I'm changing the modes here while plugging them on my IAMs. It sounds just more, again, it gets wider in stage, it's again sounds more clearer, everything it's more separated, and it's just getting more upgrade in overall resolution and details. Also staging is getting bigger, so basically it's just better on the quad deck mode, but it does drain the battery faster. Personally, because I'd like to bring this anywhere I go, I don't usually use the quad deck because it's definitely drains battery, but I'm not sure how maximum the battery life using the quad deck mode. It's just better definitely, but I don't use it every day. Now, how is it compared to one of the most popular choice for dApps around under $1,000 like the Hiby R6 Pro 2? Simply said, in sound quality wise, both of them are just really good. I love both of them, and both of them are definitely an upgrade over the Hiby R5II, but the R6 Pro 2 is touch wider in sound, while the SR35 is just touch more silent in black background. So in the end, even though I love both of them, it really comes down to the user experience. The R6 Pro 2 is just too big for me, even though it uses an open Android, so it's more versatile in terms of UI, and also it has Snapdragon 660 or 665. It's just much more faster in browsing and everything, but the size is just too wide for me. I mean, I have Android, Samsung S10 Plus, and also I have an iPhone, Apple iPhone 13. The Hiby R6 Pro 2 is wider than both of them, and for me it's already too big, at least for my pocket, so makes it not really versatile if I'm using them outdoors. Well, this SR35 is just perfectly stay in my hand like this. It's just really my palm head size, and also the volume control of this SR35 is just, I really love this volume control compared to the click up and down button in the R6 Pro 2. And also, if I compare the user experience is just really different in both of them. The R6 Pro 2, simply said, it feels like a more multimedia device because you can actually play games in R6 Pro 2, and definitely you can watch YouTube in them, while you cannot do that in this SR35. And also, one thing that makes me prioritize the SR35 over the R6 Pro 2 is just the battery life. The R6 Pro 2 in paper, in maximum play mode, it can play up to 8 hours, while this SR35 can play up to 20 hours. And personally, I cannot say that is it true or not comparing side by side, because I simply doesn't have the R6 Pro 2. But in the shop, when I compare them, it's just easy to say that the R6 Pro 2 does drain the battery faster compared to this SR35. Now, as an overall, I do think that this DAB is definitely not a multimedia device that maybe if you're hoping for that, because it doesn't have an open Android, you cannot watch YouTube through this, and it has some limitation over the third-party apps that you can install. But as a DAB, as a digital audio player for my daily needs, it's just perfect. I mean, the size of it, it's really easy to handle. I can use this volume knob that I really love, and also how clean it sounds. It also have a good power, up to 6 Vrms, and you can use basically a lot of IOs because it has complete plugs on it. And also the Bluetooth, you can use it just like a Bluetooth DAC using your phone, using the Bluetooth sync boot. Basically, this is already perfect for me in its size. So that's all I could say about the SR35. It may be not for everyone, but it's just perfect for me. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.